Oh, Justin Fields. We need to talk about him, of course. 14 of 24 for a $199, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I think he's at 4 touchdowns per game and even 12 a dozen through 3 games. Is this what we're going to get out of Justin Fields? I'm not talking statistically, but Joel Klatt of the Fox broadcast. I don't know if you guys go back and look at the games at all. You obviously see enough of it throughout the week and being right there in person, but he made a lot of Justin Fields' throwing mechanics not being as sharp as they could be. The follow-through needs to be better. The elbow placement needs to be better. That's why he sails a few when he's got to put some zip on the ball down the field. But everything else seems to be pretty well in play. He throws that ball after watching JT Barrett play for 4 years, and I know we had Dwayne Haskins for a year sandwiched in there. Man, this kid can deliver the football.
Yep, and when you talk to some of the receivers, they told us back in the spring that Justin Fields has a stronger arm than Dwayne Haskins, but when Ryan Day talked about it this week, I think he said he compared it to, it's like being able to have the longest drive. What does it really get you if you can't do the rest of the stuff? And so the strongest arm is not something they really look for, but it's something they have right now in Justin Fields. And you see some of those long throws to the opposite sideline from the far hash where, if JT Barrett throws that, he's got to wind up and hope that there's no defensive back there who's going to pick six that and go to the house. And when Fields throws it, I mean, he throws some flat footballs a long way, and it's impressive to watch. And there's one where he rolled out to his left on a scramble and was waiting for Benjamin Victor to sort of come back, and he just fired it in there. And some of these balls, I think these guys have no choice but to catch because it indents and imprints, the ball is imprinted in them, and their arms just naturally wrap around it from the force of the football, maybe. I don't know. But it's impressive to watch, and it's very different than what we've seen from JT Barrett in terms of where he can throw it. Justin Fields can wait almost too long to throw a football and still get it there. JT Barrett wasn't able to do that. If he waited too long, it was going to be a jump ball. And really, I don't know if we've seen more than maybe one jump ball. He threw one to Rashad Berry last week. That wasn't really a jump ball, but ended up coming back for holding. But yeah, he throws a different ball than what Ohio State has seen other than last year, the 1 year that we got to see Dwayne Haskins. But it's not a regression back to JT Barrett.
Right.
James Scott, go ahead, Kevin.
I'm just going to say, when you sit there and you watch some of his throws, just the way he's able to flick his wrist and the ball just goes. I mean, it's it's a lot different than what we'd seen maybe with some other type of quarterbacks in terms of their throwing motion. It's so sharp. And I have to go back to when I was in elementary school in my Nerf football playing days. Joel Klatt played, at Colorado, obviously. So I'm going to take his assessment of quarterback mechanics. So, I mean, I'm not well versed in all of that, but yeah, there are some things that are going on with Fields in terms of some high throws. He's overshot a couple guys by about half a step, to maybe a whole step. He had a couple of drops that didn't help him as well. There was the one on the offside where he just threw it down the field, and it really just hit Chris Olave in the hands. He couldn't pull it in. But then there was another one where he overshot Olave by about a half a step or whatnot. But he has shown that he does have all of the throws in the bag. It's just a matter of consistency and just cleaning a couple little things up. But I think by the time that we get into the third trimester of the season, that he'll be right there with some of the best pure passers in college football.
James Scott, we know we can count on you. Thank you so much for reminding everyone to hit the like button.
Ryan Day said a lot of the overthrows with young quarterbacks is just overstriding, and so they'll work on that. But in terms of when I hear analysts talking about, like
fine-tuning
the way they're throwing the ball and the elbow needs to be higher, needs to be lower, needs to be back here, the ball needs to be here, I just want to tell everybody, go watch Phillip Rivers and tell me how that guy has been able to operate. All right. So it's like awkward jump shots. As long as it goes in, Phillip Rivers has the ugliest throw you've ever seen, but the dude is amazing and he's pinpoint. So yeah, I get
and 80 years old.
Yeah. Leave I guess the quarterback mechanics, Ohio State has quarterbacks coaches. They've got like 3 of them. All right. So they can work on that stuff. But for when I hear Joel Klatt or whomever nitpick any quarterback throwing motion, it's like there's a lot of ways to skin this cat, and the example I'll always use is Phillip Rivers, because that thing is ugly and it's almost Uncle Rico like. But, but Phillip Rivers could throw a steak a mile and like nail Napoleon Dynamite right in the face
over them mountains.
Exactly.
It's a great point, Tony, because yes, there's a classic way to shoot a jump shot. There's a classic way to throw a baseball. There's a classic way to throw a football. And yes, there is something to it, obviously, where we're not asking guys to chuck the ball underhand. There is something to having a proper throwing motion. But yes, there are people achieving. There are players at all three sports that I just mentioned achieving at the very highest levels that don't have the best mechanics. Of course, they probably have about 80% of it down, and then other things don't quite work, and it's their style, and it works for them, and it works. It seems like most fan bases in football, both NFL and college, are hypersensitive about their quarterbacks. He missed a throw here. He missed a throw. Turn on any NFL game outside of maybe Drew Brees on a hot night or Tom Brady, and if they're throwing 40 passes, they're misfiring 7, 8, 9 times. Even the best guys. So, it's going to happen. And when you see a few sail, yeah, you would like him to be more accurate and make the throws that he's supposed to make. And maybe he will continue to develop and be a little bit sharper. But hey, when the athletic talent is at that level, I think we can put up with a few misfires each game.
And honestly, I'll add that, Kevin, do you want to go? I saw an eye roll.
No, I didn't eye roll. I started to say I got the baseball game on in front of me as well too. So I'm multitasking.
I thought I was like, man, I'm ditching.
I thought maybe Kevin was going to cite Jack Cohn as the classic reference, and we can't use him as the standard for everyone. It's just that's just not fair.
Oh, it really isn't. We shouldn't go there.
I was just going to add that I think it's great that if we're going to, and I'm not, picking on Joel Klatt. I think it's great that if Joel Klatt wants to break things down that are such, fine-tuned mechanics, we're not talking about Justin Fields' decision making. We're not talking about him looking panicked in the pocket. We're not talking about him turning over the football a bunch. We're talking about little teeny tiny things that he can do to improve. We're talking about him assimilating himself into this offense still. We're talking about him growing and progressing every week. And that seems like bigger picture stuff, more important stuff. And if he wants to fine tune him on his mechanics and have something to talk about, then go for it. As long as Justin is making those decisions he needs to make, as long as he's growing, supporting his teammates, coachable, making good decisions on and off the field, have at it, Hoss.
It's not like it's a Rick Barry free throw. I mean, it's getting there. It's getting. I mean, he's getting the ball where it needs to go, and I mean, it's part of just. Everybody's going to debate every little aspect or whatnot, but after they've called 2 games, I mean, especially with Gus, I mean, they both are very complimentary of Ohio State. Joel Klatt in his top 10 had Ohio State in that 2A, 2B range, so obviously they're doing something right.
Is anybody critiquing Trevor Lawrence's throwing motion with him just completing 60% of his passes and throwing 5 interceptions already this season? Has that been mentioned? I'm not hearing much about any criticism of Trevor Lawrence's elbow or anything like that.
I'll wait.
Heavy that wears the crown.